Welcome into June, my friends. The first 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10 of this beautiful month. It is the birthday month for me. So it's always an exciting time of year. Like to go out and have a little fun. Plus, there's the old Father's Day. It's always a good time hanging out with Pops. But for today, start your month off with this conversation. How about some more OEM digital overreach? I'm sorry, oversight. My bad. Let's go with this one first, hot off the presses. And this OEM knows who they are. They are going to launch their own websites. Whew, your own websites. That probably won't be a disaster, will it? Now, I've heard it's going okay. That's great. I hope it converts. I hope it works. I think when you reinvent the wheel and you sort of singularly assume someone is great at something, is not always the case. And that was initially why I was okay with those stupid lists that they have, the OEM approved lists. And we'll get to those things in a second in more detail. But for now, the idea and concept was these people are good at their job. They're good at there's multiple options here. If you don't like this, you can move to this. And, we live in, for now, a world of choice. You know what I'm saying? A world of choice. As a matter of fact, our politics is the only place we only get two choices. Everywhere else in the world, you get more than that. As far as here, in our country here, we get more ice cream. There's a million flavors. Do you know what I mean? So Mike's, the whole nine yards. The point is that when I look at it through this lens, and I think about why the list exists, where we can move from, the idea of having your own site. I mean, we've been down this road. Anyone who remembers General Motors, circa 2000, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere, or the whole time, we only had one provider, and this was the way, and we're not going to do this and this. And then they came along and they changed up because they had to, because a singular company, so much can go wrong over time. They can be sold. We all know what happens then. And so it's this sort of ownership that the OEM wants to take. And frankly, it's just not in their wheelhouse. Do you know what I mean? We don't show up to the factory and be like, hey, I would move that robot 16 inches over there. And I'd only use one robot maker. I wouldn't use other. I would only, right? I don't comment on that shit. So why are people coming here and making us, kind of do things their way? So what happens, right? So I start talking to folks, and I got a client, a friend of mine, who says, Sean, by the way, I'm just going to launch a secondary site. Oh, no, not again, my friends. The secondary site discussion, no. Again, back to the General Motors days, we were able to get secondary sites to outrank the OEM sites all day long. That was 10 years ago. Please caution yourself about doing it now, but I get why you would. If you guys have got a cool URL that can get ranked, get moving, I get why you would. I totally understand it. You just have to make sure that you're not having digital spend going to both. The OEM doesn't spend into that one. Everything gets focused on your secondary. But what a shitty thing for dealers to have to do to overcome a shortcoming from their OEM. Like, it's extremely, extremely lame. Now, we've got a new recent, as far as I've heard, addition in the co-op world. Another OEM has decided they're going to have co-op. They're going to, I think, cut out the middleman, which is interesting. Sounds like they'd like the kick to go their way. But they came out again with an approved list. Now, these approved lists, I said 5 seconds ago that I understand them, right? And I do. I understand them. What I don't understand is how things can just live in perpetuity. There are no checks and balances once involved. And to get approved, to get involved, has really arbitrary nonsense attached to it. And so what I don't understand is why we can't just have co-op be spent and with approved documents, like we always have, from whomever does the work, submitted over, approved by the co-op department, and run downhill. Because again, I'm going to tell you this, and I know it's going to rub folks the wrong way. No one agency is good at everything. Sorry, not sorry. It's the concept of vertical integration that gets sort of disjointed because you can't be great at SEO and paid and be able to move the needle on OTT and have the right buy. It's just, I have never run into it. And I know I'm going to get a bunch of DMs. Oh, we have that. You should try us. Okay. I likely already have, and I likely already know. And so this is not an uninformed opinion. This is informed over the last 15 years at minimum, if not 20, of what happens with these vendors, because you get on these gravy trains of these OEM deals and a bunch of dealers are sort of forced to sign up, forced to be a part of. What if, and I've got this problem right now with an approved vendor, what if their ethos, what they believe, just fights everything you and your client think is right? Sure, you fire them, you move to another vendor, but churning your paid and SEO vendors every 6 months is not a good idea. It's not a good idea. These programs make it easy, though. That's for sure. Cancellation, boom, add this, done. That's fine. Not a good idea. Just not a good idea. Now, with a lot of the Google stuff becoming automated, do I care as much? No, but the people will always make the difference. And these certified companies that are on this list need to be held to a standard. You know, a buddy of mine, he's approved by an OEM with his agency, and he sends out a report about the top converting, agencies as a part of the program. And when I saw this, I thought to myself, holy shit. So they are looking, but they're not doing anything. They know the best and the worst of what they have, and they don't go, hey, if you stay worse for another 3 months, and let me say this to you, you're fired, right? If there was a car dealer underperforming against their AOR and blah, 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 you'd come to them, you'd threaten them with a letter, you'd be all over their asses, yet you'll let these vendors just be bad at what they do. You'll let them have bad campaign structure, not set up properly, the wrong meta text. Like, you guys want to go on and on with this list of how bad these people are. I'm here for it, okay? It should not be up to the OEM who a dealer spends his money with. I don't give a shit if you're giving it back to him. How about that? Because even if you are so graciously giving it back to them, what do you know about marketing? Nothing. Nothing. You think you know, you've been advised by a middleman, maybe. They likely don't know shit either. You're not in the trenches with these dealers. Most OEMs have smarter dealers than they have reps, and they don't get that. And that goes for digital as well. Give me a break. I used to be one of these digital reps. I know how smart the dealers are, man. I was in those stores. So this was a cool idea, middleman and co-op lists 10 years ago when you had to get started and you had to find out what was what. Guess what? Not anymore. How about that? How about the idea that you get rid of the approved vendor list, you have a co-op list of regulations that must be the right font, the right messaging, the right this. It gets approved through the same fucking process, and you let these dealers spend their money as they may. How about that? And I bet most of them would be willing to take a little bit of a discount, maybe only getting back 75% of their money on every dollar if they could pick who they wanted. You know what I mean? If you really thought through it, if you really considered the dealer, if you really talked to them about these fucking lists and who's on them, it's like what do they call those things at colleges, right? Where you're a professor forever. That's what this is. You're on this list forever. Forever. And it's not possible. People don't stay that good that long. That's a truth. Hard truth, but it's a truth. Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed that because I needed to get that off my chest. It was a lot. It's been frustrating. I get all these calls from all my clients and from friends who are dealers and friends of their friends who are dealers about these problems, and it enrages me every single time. So I'll offer it again. OEMs, if you ever want a better direction, you ever want to know more how to do this better, don't let the name fool you. We get out, man. Give me a call. I'm around anytime. 262-278-0157. Been a while since we gave the number on the show, but there it is if you need it. Text all your questions, concerns, and comments my way. I'm happy to answer them. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the first week of June.